Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, I don't think any of us saw that coming. Going into San Diego and taking all three games from the San Diego Padres? Yeah. I mean, after how badly they played in San Francisco, no, I wouldn't have thought that. Not a team that's in that kind of playoff positioning. It was so many former Orioles, it's good Orioles, like Manny Machado, Jose Iglesias, Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Laureano. Yeah, they got quite a few of them over there. Though I guess maybe to a certain extent, the return of Tyler Wells and Albert Suarez gave a huge boost. And okay, yeah, Jorge Mateo, even though he didn't see any action. Maybe that's what it was. And what, the third outing for Kyle Bradish? Or was it his second? Whichever one. Second. No, third. Third. Can't keep track now. However, as you can see on MassiveSports.com, let's get to game one. These were all relatively close games. Kind of surprising that the Orioles were able to come out on top. So here, game one, Baltimore Orioles 4, San Diego Padres 3. Okay. Orioles broke the tie in the 7th inning because the game was tied for the most part. Orioles got 2 in the second. Padres got 2 in the second. Orioles get 1 in the 5th. Padres get 1 in the 5th. Yeah. Okay. Kind of don't like when that happens, Mr. Starting Pitcher, whoever you were. Yeah. But it does happen. Jackson Holiday 1 hit, Jeremiah Jackson 3 hits and an RBI. Daniel Johnson coming in for a defensive replacement late. Gunnar Henderson 1 hit and walk. Manuel Rivera 1 hit. Colt Cowser pinch hitting late. Over in the only plate appearance, and then you bring Luis Vasquez in for defensive replacement. Or to play the field because Cowser doesn't play third base, obviously. Dylan Beavers, 2 hits and an RBI. Dylan Carlson, over, but he walked once. Samuel Basayo, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Mayo, 1 hit, struck out 3 times. Yeah. Alex Jackson, over, 4 strikeouts. Wow. That's kind of a lot of strikeouts. Basayo, 2, and Holiday, 1 doubles. And then Jackson, as in Jeremiah Jackson, home run. Ends, as in Dietrich ends, with a throwing error. Yeah. That's disappointing. Kyle Bradish getting the start in this game. Not able to go more than 5 innings. That's very disappointing. We're not even able to get to 5 innings. 4 innings pitched for Brad. So this is his second. I can't remember. I feel like it is his second, but why do I want to think it's his third? It was the second outing. Okay. I was right the first time. Or the second time. Whichever time. 2. This marks 2 outings for Kyle Bradish on the year. Only able to go 4 innings. Does give up 4 hits and 2 runs and 2 walks. But he strikes out 5. So, what do you attribute this to? Maybe a little less juice because this isn't his first time back in over a year. Now, the stuff is still there. I mean, with the 5 strikeouts. And he threw 4 innings. He got 5 strikeouts, so there's some stuff there. It really only gave up 2 runs. It's not that bad. They did pitch 4 innings. But to a certain extent, 84 pitches after the 4 innings. So, to a certain extent, is some of that because the pitch count is elevated? Yeah, probably. I mean, he was getting tired. I mean, he hasn't pitched a whole lot in the last year, has he? Yeah. Dietrich ends on relief of Bradish pitching the full 5th, 6th, and then 1 out into the 7th. He does give up 2 hits and 1 run. It's not earned because it was a throwing error by him, which I still find weird. don't think it should be an unearned run for a pitcher when it was the pitcher that made the error. If it's a player that makes the error, okay, I get it. But it is the pitcher who made the error. Now, yes, okay, it is a fielding or a throwing, so it is after the pitching portion of baseball. So it's not that I don't understand it. It's just, how do you not charge the run to the pitcher when he made the error? It sounds weird in my head. Enzo only walked one and he only struck out one. But 2 1/3 of an inning pitched. What more could you ask for? Honestly, you couldn't ask for a whole lot more. Rico Garcia in relief of Dietrich Enns, pitching the last 2 outs of the 7th and then the full 8th inning. Only throwing 21 pitches, which is pretty good. Enns threw 34 pitches. So getting through more than 2 innings on 34 pitches, and then more than 1 inning on 21. That's pretty good. I'll say those are fairly good outings. Rico Garcia, 1 2/3 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. I feel like I don't need to see any more. Now, we don't know what the hell else will happen in the next 3 weeks of baseball, but if Michael Elias can swing it, Rico Garcia needs to be on the team next year. As far as what I can tell, he's definitely a Major League Baseball arm. Is he a premier setup man? Is he a closer? Don't matter. But the man can pitch in Major League Baseball. That's for sure. Does he have rough stretches? Sure. But can he at least be the 7th or 8th man out there in your bullpen? Absolutely. Keegan Aiken on for the save, getting his 4th save of the year, pitching the full 9th inning. Does give up a hit, but no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. You would have almost thought that it would have been really shaky in the later innings for the Orioles, but it's not. I mean, against a 76 and 62 ball club. Padres are 14 games over 500. The Orioles are 14 games below 500. Hey man, whatever. Whatever. Why am I not at the top of the damn thing? This one was relatively not close. Second game of this 3-game series. Baltimore Orioles 6, San Diego Padres 2. Yep. Jackson Holiday 2 hits. Jeremiah Jackson hit 2 RBIs. Also walked 1. Daniel Johnson again. Defensive replacement late. Okay. Henderson 0 but he walked once. Ryan Mountcastle 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. Colton Cowser 2 hits. Samuel Basayo 0 but he did walk once and then struck out 3 times. A veteran pitcher like Yu Darvish on the hill, so maybe that's a little bit why you got a few strikeouts from these younger guys. Manuel Rivera 2 hits, 4 RBIs. It's another intriguing piece as well, because I've felt for at least, we'll say half the year, he looks pretty good. How old is he? He's not 30 yet, okay, but he's been around for a bit. Who else has he been with? Oh, I don't want today. It's a few Kansas City, Arizona, Miami. He doesn't have too much major league service time. He really doesn't. He only has 1,000 at bats. Okay. But he I feel like I see good defense from him, and you get stretches like this where he gets you clutch hits. I want to say clutch hitches. Clutch hits. Now if you see him for too long, you do see some of his weak spots, I think. But overall, I like him as a player. Now with Ramon Arias, the other Ramon, exiting, is there room for another utility infielder? Well, I think you're going to want to keep Jeremiah Jackson around because he's got some outfield availability, and some infield availability. So do you want to keep Emmanuel Rivera around? And what do you do with Jorge Mateo? To a certain extent, Mateo isn't the only one with speed and can steal bases now. Jackson Holliday is trying to improve. He's kind of getting there. Henderson's pretty good at stealing bases. Cowser, if he ever gets on base more often, which he doesn't really. Jeremiah Jackson's pretty fast. Now they got Danny Johnson. I don't know how much he'll stick around now. So, while Jorge Mateo is really fast, it's his infield play and his offense going to be up to snuff. Because otherwise, you probably end up keeping Rivera around. Dylan Beavers, 0 but he walked once. Kobe Mayo, 1 hit and a walk in the 9-hole. Okay. So I'm going to do fine out of that. Mayo with a double, Jackson as in Jeremiah Jackson with a home run. Huh. Cowser with a stolen base, Holliday with a caught stealing. Yeah, that one. He would have been safe, except when he dove down to the ground. And the throw was kind of offline, but it was offline to a point where it was more towards first base, where Jackson Holliday is coming from. And Holliday decided to kick his left leg, way up in the air as he dove to the ground. I don't know that I've seen it that much, ever, in Major League Baseball. Just a player's leg being that high in the air when they're diving into second base. If it was lower, who was it Jose Iglesias? I think it was applying the tag there. He's not able to tag Holliday before he gets to the base. But because the foot was so high in the air, he tagged him on the calf. His lower leg, Jackson Holliday's lower left leg was so high in the air that it was so easy to tag. It was lower on the ground that it's not so easy to tag and Holliday gets in there. But you're flopping your legs around. I guess that, to a certain extent, is what Tony Mansolino, the interim manager, is talking about. Having these guys learn by doing. Make the mistakes. Especially make them now, because you all are not going to do anything this year except lose. Except for this series, which apparently you're going to win all of the games. Learn now by failure, because it doesn't matter. I guess. I mean, do whatever, y'all. Do whatever. I feel like, holy shit, why are you flopping your legs around like that? Keep your legs out of the way. You throw them up in the air like you just don't care, and they're going to get tagged. Like they did there. Oh, well. Here we go. Tyler Wells getting a start in this game. Yeah, first action in, much like Bradish, over a year. He looks fine. Be perfectly honest, I thought Tyler Wells' stuff was a lot better, but just seeing him throw, and by the pitches themselves and their location, their speeds, their break, I feel like I was less impressed. It's like, man, that's all he got? A 93-mile-an-hour fastball, a curveball, a cutter, or a slider and a cutter, and like, oh. Just none of the pitches really looked that impressive to me. He got the outs. Part of that is he's really tall. 6'6", 6'7", something like that. So his landing spot is further down the mound and therefore closer to the plate, and therefore the pitch is losing less velocity. So therefore perceived velocity is kind of higher than 93. Plus, you're thinking about reaction time for the hitter. They got a lot less reaction time because the ball is out of the hand less time than, let's say, a shorter person. Tyler Wells going 5 full innings, 85 pitches. Does give up the 5 hits and the 2 runs, but no walks, which is very good, and 4 strikeouts. Sean Dubin, first man out of the pen, pitching the full 6th inning, does give up the 1 hit, but no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Cage Stroud. yeah, this is a game you almost lost because of Cade Stroud, but somehow Rico Garcia put that cape on again. Cade Stroud only able to get one out into the 7th inning. Just didn't have it. Stroud throws 20 pitches and he walks 3 dudes. Which bare minimum pitches there for the walks would be 12 pitches. Because 12 balls. Just came straight out of bullpen throwing balls. Couldn't find a strike zone. It's somewhat disappointing because I want to see Cade. How old is Cade Stroud and when was he drafted? Cade Stroud's 27 years old. Not going to be too much as far as statistics because he spent most of the time in the minor leagues. So yeah, 27. He was in the 19 draft. It's in the 19 draft with Adley Rutschman. If I remember correctly, it was either 19 or 20. I'm pretty sure it was 19, as in 2019. Late round. It's not like he was the 4th or 5th pick or something. No, he was way late. But at the same time, it's been long enough. It's definitely time to figure out what you got in this guy, whether you care if he's back or not next year, because getting close to where some other team can snag him on a Rule 5 pick. If he's got potential, then of course you don't want to let him go. But at the same time, you see outings like this and you say, get rid of the douchebag. But you look at some of the other outings and you're like, he's a great pitcher. But then you just can't throw that many balls. You just can't. 20 pitches for Stroud, 7 strikes. You can't do it. Can't do it. But he did it. Thankfully, Rico Garcia has that cape in his back pocket. He threw that on with the bases loaded again and gets out of it. I don't know. But he did it. But again, this is why I say, as far as I'm concerned, Rico Garcia is here next year. If I got anything to say about it, Rico Garcia will stay here. So Garcia getting the final 2 outs of the 7th inning, again with the bases loaded, giving up no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Okay. Albert Suarez in for the last 2 innings of the game. Yes, welcome back, Albert Suarez. Definitely could have used him through most of the season. Yeah. Suarez pitching the final 2. I'm sorry. I wanted to say it's final 2 outs of the game. Final 2 innings of the game. No hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Pitched those last 2 innings on 22 pitches. I don't know. You just caught the San Diego Padres at the right time. You got lucky. Get to game 3 here. You got a little bit lucky in this game too. Especially in that 6th inning where you were able to limit the damage. Because the Padres, in not using a lot of their really strong bullpen pieces in the first 2 games, had them all available. And they kind of shut you down after the 3rd inning. So a little bit from the starter and a lot of bit from the bullpen. Which, listening to the broadcast and with Ben Wagner and Ben McDonald, San Diego Padres got a pretty good bullpen. Well, they got 2 closers. Yeah, they're the ones that traded for Mason Miller. Not the Baltimore Orioles. Padres made the trade for Mason Miller. Mike Elias said, "Nah, I'm good." Yeah, good call, asshole. You better sign him in the offseason. Did I give the score? I don't know if I got the score yet or not. Baltimore Orioles 7, San Diego Padres 5. Jackson Holiday, 2 hits, an RBI, and a walk. Jeremiah Jackson over. Damn, hit streak over. That's disappointing. But he did walk once, so that's good. And right on cue, Daniel Johnson in for defensive replacement. Okay. I mean, whatever, Tony Mansolino. I mean, whatever, dude. Whatever. Yeah. You let Daniel Johnson hit? Whatever, man. Ryan Mountcastle hit, RBI, and a walk. Emmanuel Rivera, 2 hits. Dylan Carlson, over, but he walked twice. Yeah, Emmanuel Rivera hit in 4th. Dylan Carlson hit 5th. What the hell is Basayo and Beavers? Oh, not in the lineup. Ooh. Surprised he won that game. Because who the hell else is in this lineup? Well, apparently a bunch of hitters. Or a bunch of dudes that brought their hitting shoes. Colton Cowser hit 3 RBIs. Also struck out 3 times. Kobe Mayo hit RBI and walked once. Alex Jackson hit an RBI. Luis Vasquez over, but he walked twice. Alright. Sounds like some good offense. Jackson, as in Alex Jackson, home run. Mayo, Cowser, and Holiday with home runs as well. And that was it for the extra base hits. No doubles, no triples. Oh, okay. Stolen bases by Vasquez and Mayo. Okay. I think, to a certain extent, I do feel that the Mayo one, I think it was a hit and run. But the pitch was not a great pitch. You couldn't get wood on it. And then catcher who was Freddie for me for the most part. Who was it in this game? Mr. Diaz here threw it into the outfield. So, yeah. Cade Povich got the start in this game, and he almost blew it in the 6th inning. Right here. Very disappointing. He would Cade Povich. I'm going to say Cade Stroud. Too many Cades on this team now. Doing very good. I mean, he enters the 6th inning, and he's barely at 70 pitches. And he just couldn't do anything. When the Padres scored those 4 runs, or scored 4 more runs in the 6th, and Povich still only had 3 walks and 7 hits. He's pitching really good for the first 5 innings. That 6th inning just hit a wall, I guess. Povich pitching 5 full innings, and again, he did start the 6th, just couldn't get an out. Giving up 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, and striking out 3. Keegan Aiken in to try to limit the damage. I mean, he limited it. I mean, they ended up giving up more runs, but it limited it to a certain extent. I mean, however, Keegan Aiken pitching 2 full innings, the 6th and the 7th. 24 pitches, that's pretty good. He does give up 2 hits in those 2 innings, but only 1 run, no walks, and striking out 2. Again, that's fine, because again, minimizing damage. Sean Dubin in for the 8th inning. He does give up the hit, but pitching the full 8th inning, the 1 hit, but the no runs and the no walks, and then there's the 3 strikeouts. Yeah. Matching Mason Miller on the other side for the San Diego Padres, pitching the 8th inning with his 3 strikeouts on 12 sliders. Yes, 12 pitches, all 12 sliders. And, yeah. Okay. Alright, now who's pitching the 9th inning? It's just weird to not see, again, Wolfram. Wolfram didn't pitch. He was warming, but he didn't pitch. Dubin got 2 outings. Aiken threw, twice? Rico Garcia came in twice. I'm not sure I completely understand not getting 1 pitcher in there for a whole series. It's weird. I guess to a certain extent it is a balancing act. Tony Mansolino doesn't seem to be doing it with the same pitchers. And to his credit, Enns, Garcia, and Aiken got in that first game and said, oh, excuse me. Woo. Enz, Garcia, and Aiken got into that game, the first game in San Diego, which they were left out in the previous series, which was weird. Very weird. Yeah, stalling a bit because what the hell to say about this ninth inning. Because, okay, we've seen Cano get out of ninth innings before with a lead. We have seen it. For one reason or another, he doesn't do well in the ninth inning. He did well here. Why? And other times, he just doesn't do it. To a certain extent, I almost, and I don't even know if these guys are friends or if they even like each other, but it almost felt like when the Orioles really wanted to use Cano in the ninth was after Batista got injured. And it just seemed like, well, Cano didn't want to do it because it was his friend's spot and he didn't want to take over his friend's job. But after this long, this many, and you're going to have to go another whole year without Felix Batista. Maybe that's gone, and maybe we can count on Cano a little bit more in the ninth inning. Because he had the sinker working. He had the sinker and the changeup working. Why were they working all of a sudden? I don't know, but they are. So Cano pitching the full ninth inning does get his second save on the year. No hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Hopefully that means that we can see that kind of performance in the future. Instead of getting a bad Cano, the cannot, we want the yes. Well, we shall see. We only got a few weeks left in the season. All right, let's get to the articles. Real quick on some of this shit, hopefully, anyway. A lot of moves and only really a few things to update. I'm procrastinating. This article here by Rockabotko talking about the September 1st call-ups. Who were they? Albert Suarez and Maverick Henley. That's the answer to the Jeopardy question. One pitcher, one player when September 1st rolls around. Rosters expand from 26 to 28. So, yeah, one pitcher, one hitter you can add. Alright, this next article here by the Masson staff giving an update on Roansy Contreras, who was designated for assignment several days ago. Well, the Rockies claimed him, so he's no longer in the Baltimore Orioles organization, which is wonderful. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess. This article here, I guess it's really a post, or maybe it's an article, however, by the Masson staff as well, talking about how Jorge Mateo and Tyler Wells are reinstated from the 60-day injured list. Now, to do that, you actually need a few moves. You need to make room on the 28-man roster, and you also need to make room on the 40-man roster. Maverick Hanley, who's going to be staying on the 40-man roster. You're going to move him down to AAA Norfolk. Now, that gets you room on the roster, the 28-man roster, but it doesn't get you room on the 40-man roster. So, that's where it comes Elvin Rodriguez being designated for assignment. So, him no longer on the 40-man roster. And the 40-man roster is the players that are available to be called up to the majors, which kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Because I guess you don't want it to be the whole organization. You want it to be limited to the 40 guys because. Now, to make room on the 28-man roster and the 40-man roster, you designate Corbin Martin from the assignment. So there, what did I say? You designate Corbin Martin for assignment. So Corbin Martin gets removed from the 40-man as well as the 28-man roster. Alright, so there you go. You're updated, I think. Who knows? They're probably making moves right now and they're just not telling us. Wouldn't surprise me. This article here by Rock Kabatko talking about or giving updates on Jordan Westburg and Tyler O'Neill. Now, very weird situation here because there's only 22 games left in the season, so about 3 weeks. So there's not a whole lot of time for players like a Westberg or an O'Neill to go away on a rehab assignment and then come back to the major league club, because you go on a rehab assignment for a week and then you come back for the last 2 weeks. Well, if you're not going to go on a rehab assignment for another week, then you're going to go on that rehab assignment for a week and then play the final 6-7 games of the year. Okay. To a certain extent, I guess it doesn't make sense with Tyler O'Neill, but it doesn't really make sense with Jordan Westberg. Jordan Westberg, they're saying, potentially will be ready to go on a rehab assignment next week sometime. At least in this article, reading this article makes me want to think the middle-ish of the week, so around Wednesday-ish, because they mentioned Tyler Wells being close to going on a rehab assignment next weekend. So I guess, as far as O'Neill, you almost don't want him back on the roster before the season ends, because who the hell cares? Who the hell cares if he's good enough or not? You really want to give some of these other outfielders a chance to play. You need them to get the reps out there to find out if they can make the team next year, if they can get an invite to spring training, if they can make your roster as a utility man or as the fourth outfielder, or however you construct the roster next year. Tyler O'Neill, in all likelihood, you never really know sometimes, but yes, Tyler O'Neill's contract is a player option. It's not a team option. So unless Tyler O'Neill is, we'll say, an idiot, or he is that good of a person, he feels that he owes this organization and will opt out, which just seems almost no way that would ever happen. Like, why would you opt out of that $30 million? Why? Well, I guess this beats $30 million for the next 2 years total. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, so Tyler O'Neill might be back with 1 week left to play in the season, and Jordan Westberg might be back with 2 weeks left to play in the season. Okay. However. All right, let's get this schedule, wrap this up, and get out of here. Yep. I don't know, MassiveSports.com. I don't know what you're doing. Thank you, ESPN. Oh, you know what? It's not zoomed in. Because it was the website that gets zoomed in. All right, here we go. Now we're in the right spot here. So today, Thursday, is the off day, and then starts a 3-game series at Camden Yards against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then another off day Monday. Okay, whatever. I don't know what. I still don't get that. I hate that. You're going to limit it to off days like that, but then you got stretches where you're playing 16, 20 games, 12 games, 11 games, and then you got stretches like this where you play 3 games in between 2 off days. Okay, whatever, man. Whatever. So Friday's game scheduled 7:05, Saturday's game scheduled 7:05, Sunday's game scheduled 1:35, interfering with all our football. Yeah, not the Ravens, because we got the nightcap. So that's going to do it for this edition of Ryno's Orioles Report. Please stay tuned for Monday, and we'll discuss the series between the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm the Angry Ryno, and this is Birdland.